Hi guys, Ancient Warrior. On my last video we talked about the movie War Games. On this one, because it's showing up in the news again a bunch, let's talk about Red Dawn. And we're going to talk about both versions, the 1984 version and the 2012. Now, the idea behind the 84 version was one morning in a rural Colorado town, everything was rocking along the way it was supposed to. And the Russian military, using airliners, commercial airliners, or planes marked as commercial airliners, started depositing troops along the Rocky Mountains. Troops came across the Bering Strait into Alaska, across the Rocky Mountain, and started cutting off the Alaskan pipeline. Now I'm going to tell you some fallacies in this movie, the first one. So all of a sudden you see a teacher walks out to talk to a guy because he sees a parachutist land in the yard of the school, and they gun him down. And then they open fire on the building itself. Kids start scattering. Patrick Swayze played Jeb, and Charlie Sheen played his little brother. They jumped into Patrick Swayze's pickup and go tearing off. They see people shot down, gunned down, and everything. Make a long story short, they get out in the middle of, they go by one of the convenience stores, little fishing, hunting store, and they clean that booger out. They take long guns that are in there, and they take pistols. And then they retreat up into the hills. Now, at some point, they're trying to get to the hills, and a couple of tanks are blocking the roads. Next thing you know, an attack helicopter blows the tanks up. They go cut left, go cross country, and Jeb, being a mechanic, figures out his radiator's got a hole in it from a bullet. Well, he plugs it up, and they urinate into jars and fill the radiator back up. But that was a hell of a smell when it heated up. Guys, what I'm pointing out here to you is that's the way we thought in the 1980s. Now, I sat with other people who, like myself, in the know. And the first comment out of my mouth after seeing the movie is, that cannot happen today. Why couldn't it happen? Well, at that time period, the Russian army would have met a group in Alaska called the Arctic Rangers, the Alaskan Militia Group. They're all Inuit tribesmen, and some of them were World War II, Korean, and Vietnam vets. They may not have won that fight, but they just sure made it costly for them to come across. Number 2. The minute aircraft started dropping paratroopers out of the back end of it, somebody would have seen it. And at that time period, there were a lot of survivalists in Colorado, and they would have sounded the alarm. Now, the guerrilla warfare, the way the boys did the guerrilla warfare, I sort of agree with it, and I sort of don't. You know, and they used, you know, their mode of transportation was the horses, which was a great idea. But today, things are different. We're so technologically advanced. Now, at the end of the movie, it shows a plaque and says, "As all wars go." And they started writing down the names of the people who died. Now, let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to 2012. Same storyline, except it's North Koreans. Because when they originally did the movie, it was going to be the Chinese. Okay, North Korea hadn't got a snowball's chance in hell of taking out the United States. This is a country that's probably about the size of New York State, maybe equivalent to New York State and Rhode Island and Vermont, New Jersey. They don't have the technology to put aircraft over the United States without our Air Force knowing about it. Now, let me remind you. Let me remind you what both storylines was. Famine around the world. We seeing that right now? Crop failures around the world. We have, then they said migrants came up out of the South, crossing into the United States illegally. And migrating to jobs where they were on bases. These things happening right now? What about these caravans? Then, folks, let's look at what's going on. We have groups like New Black Panther Party, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, going up against common people. Then you've got the Democrats taking control of states and writing god-awful gun laws. And it will start in January. Believe me, if you are not buying magazines, you need to buy extra magazines, extra ammunition. You need to stock up on those two things for whatever guns you carry. Your handguns and your long guns. You also need to stock up on shotgun shells. And if you don't have a 12 gauge, 410, 20 gauge, or what, 16 gauge, get one. They're great hunting devices, but they're great home defenses. And contrary to the belief that you can take a 12 gauge scatter gun, riot gun, or short barreled shotgun, 20 inch, 18, 20 inch, and just point general direction and those BBs are going to hit target, ain't true. You've got to aim. Now my personal, I've got a 1148 Remington shotgun that has a laser sight on it. I turn that booger on, I know exactly where that round's going. Before 9/11, I would have told you this could not happen to America. Here we are, 17 years past 9/11, and I'm telling you, prepare for it happening. Prepare in a big way. Get food and water. Get medical supplies. Find out if you have people taking prescription drugs in your home. Find out what natural means you can, because the prescription drugs will come to a stop if we go to war. Especially if it's a civil war or if it's a war within our borders. And we're going to talk about fake news here in a couple of videos. So, with that being said, folks, plan for the worst. Plan for the worst, because let me tell you something. No matter what your plans are, after bullets start flying, after first contact, it all goes to hell, and you better have a backup plan. So, with that being said, folks, prepare. Food, water, shelter, medical supplies. If you have those, you live in free America. If you don't, oh well, welcome to the FEMA camps. Have a good day. Have a blessed day.